The Advent Calendar is a French horror film that takes a really creepy concept and turns it into a dark supernatural morality tale. It follows a paraplegic ex-dancer who receives an antique wooden Advent calendar from her friend as a birthday gift. At first, the calendar seems harmless and even strangely magical and whimsical, but she quickly learns it comes with a strict set of rules tied to a demonic entity. Every day she opens a new window, she's granted a wish or some kind of reward, but each blessing comes with increasingly disturbing and deadly consequences. The more she gives into the calendar's temptations, the darker and bloodier things become around her. This is definitely a slow burn horror movie, and I knew that will immediately turn some people off. But honestly, I didn't mind the pacing at all because the story was and the plot was very intriguing. Even though the movie takes its time, the central mystery surrounding the calendar kept me interested throughout. I always wanted to know what would happen next, what rules would be revealed, and how far the main character was willing to go once she realized the power she had access to with the Advent calendar. The film steadily builds tension instead of relying on non-stop jump scares, and because of that, it manages to create a really eerie atmosphere that sticks with you. One thing the movie absolutely nails is its presentation. The cinematography is beautiful with a cold and gloomy visual style that perfectly matches the supernatural tone of the film. The lighting, camera work, and overall mood give the film a classy look that makes it stand out from a lot of lower budgeted horror movies. There's a constant sense of dread hanging over everything in the film, and the calendar itself becomes generally unsettling the longer the movie goes on. The acting was also very solid across the board, especially from the lead actress, who does a convincing job portraying someone becoming consumed by desperation, temptation, and selfishness. Despite the slower pacing, I never felt like the movie dragged at all. That's something a lot of slow horror films struggle with, but here the story keeps flowing naturally. There's always enough happening to maintain the viewer's interest, whether it's new revelations about the calendar, the worsening consequences of the wishes, or the moral decline of the main character. The movie understands how to slowly escalate the situation without becoming repetitive. I also appreciated the practical effects whenever the film used them. Some of the injury detail and supernatural moments looked really effective in a grounded, old school horror way. But unfortunately, the CGI was a noticeable weak point in the film. Whenever the movie leaned too heavily into digital effects, the quality dipped pretty hard, and some scenes lost their impact because of it. The practical work looked far better than the computer generated stuff, and I honestly wish they had relied on it more. Also, the demon in this movie looked really good as well. My biggest issue with this movie is that it never fully commits to being as dark and nasty as a premise deserved. The idea of a demonic advent calendar granting cursed wishes has so much potential for horrifying scenes, but the film often feels restrained. There could have been way more demon action, and most of the gore happens off screen or is heavily toned down. For a story this twisted, I wanted something meaner, more shocking, and also more intense. It constantly feels like the movie is right on the edge of becoming something truly disturbing, but then it pulls back at the last second. The movie was screaming for a nastier edge, and I think the film ultimately played things too safe when it should have embraced the horror more aggressively. Another thing that hurt the movie for me was the lead character's personality shift in the second half of the film. Early on, she's sympathetic and easy to root for because of her situation and struggles. But as the movie progresses and the calendar's influence grows, she becomes increasingly selfish, manipulative, and also very unlikable. I understand that this was intentional and part of a story's themes about temptation and corruption, but it still made me care less about her by the end. Once I stopped rooting for her, some of the emotional impact weakened a bit. That being said, I really liked the twist ending. The twist works well and gives the film a darker, more satisfying conclusion than I expected. Instead of backing away from the consequences of the story, the movie commits to a bleak final note that fits the tone of the film perfectly. It left me with a much stronger impression after the credits rolled and helped elevate the overall film experience for me. So, overall, The Advent Calendar is a well made supernatural horror movie with an original premise, strong atmosphere, beautiful cinematography, and solid performances. Its slow pacing won't work for everyone, but I thought the intriguing story kept things engaging throughout. While the movie could have used more demon horror, nastier gore, and a willingness to push things further, it still delivers an entertaining and somewhat creepy experience with a memorable ending. If you like this sort of content, don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment on my videos. So, my review for this movie is a 3.5 out of 5.